So these are the contributors of our star genetic potential. The systems are the Pleiades, Sirius, Arcturus, Orion, Andromeda, and Lyra in ascending dimensional consciousness. All right? So in brief, this is what comprised us spiritually or spiritual genetically. Because it's a spiritual DNA, I doubt we can prove that we are made up of such genes at this moment. So if you're looking for scientific evidence, I'm not sure whether we could offer, as in the guides could offer any of these with you. Right? Therefore, I said, it can only be through your personal experience to time that you either agree or disagree with the principles shared here. And what makes 2017 important is also because that from this year onwards, because of enough human consciousness that have been since expanded, we became able to make contact telepathically or intuitively with a rare opening in the stars. So this rare opening or the activation of the portal came about because of the coming together of multi-galaxies, including the Milky Way, of course. All right? So as I mentioned the other day, these gateways are always present because above the Earth realm, there is no time. So you don't have to wait for like a particular time to access a certain portals. However, because of our consciousness and our energy frequencies may not be ready enough to contact these, therefore we think they were not there. I just want to make this clarification. Everything is already there, already happened, because in us, we are quantum in nature. There is no restriction or limitation by time. I just want to share, it makes, because of this accessibility of the cross-galactic energies coming through Milky Way, it makes 2017 rather special. So today's workshop is to assist us to continue to tap into and through the intergalactic portal so that you can begin to experience more of your celestial or star nature. And the way is to activate in us 2 mini portals. All right? So as within, so without. So you can imagine Sirius or Pleiades star system are outside us, but of course we know that everything resides in us. So if you can have access to these gateways that are like stepping stones or intermediary gateways towards the intergalactic portal, you will be facilitated in order to bring through this rarely available intergalactic expansionary vibrations. I don't know for how long this accessibility will remain, all right? My guides have not informed me, and I can understand why. Probably because time is of less and less significance. So does it really make sense to say this gateway of and from the intergalaxy will be available only for 10 years, 9 years, 8 years? Perhaps not. I just know that it begins this year because there is enough human consciousness whose intention is to grow beyond understanding yourself and with the support of the celestial beings. So let us begin discussing right into the DNA made up of ourselves, if for now you can accept the possibility that you are a star human, at least in genetic formation. So as I mentioned earlier, we have been seeded as a 12-dimensional celestial beings making up of these genetics. If genetics can be calibrated as dimensional in nature, this is just one way of understanding the differential between energy frequencies across different systems. So they will be ranging from the first dimension to the 12th dimension. All right? So as we know, Earth and ourselves are calibrated at this, a third dimensional, meaning most of our experiences since birth, whether it's this lifetime or prior, are more or less centered around learning as a third dimensional being through Earth, as an Earth school or as a physical school. So this is our aspect as physicality, all right? Our spirit is embodied as a physical vehicle or vessel for certain purposes. That makes us third dimensional from that perspective. Of course, we have so-called the more evolved genes in us, the Pleiades of fourth dimension, the Sirius system, the fifth and the sixth dimension, and as you can read for yourself, the rest, all right? And what is interesting about dimensional consciousness is they are not separate from one another. They may be distinct, and they have to be distinct because of the law of free will. So it's like they have their own laws by which they operate their societies and civilizations, but because of also concurrently the universal law of oneness, we are all interconnected. How so? So, before we learn to fly, we would like to walk. I'm sure you agree with us. So it's like before we really evolve to 12-dimensional, maybe we could afford to evolve and develop ourselves step by step by beginning to realize more of the slightly higher dimensional consciousness embedded in us, namely, how is it like to be fourth dimension? How is it like to be fifth and sixth? That's it for now. Because once you're able to embody the fifth dimensional awareness in you most of the time, then it's almost like the rest of the journey up across the celestial worlds, as it were, will be automatic. The reason being that at the fifth dimensional level, one is back to source. All right, you really have lived and you have really demonstrated your God self at the fifth dimensional level, whenever that is for you. Therefore, I say that once you are at home, comfortably and predominantly in your fifth dimensional zone, then it will just happen as to the other flourishing or unfoldment of your higher aspects. So what is interesting with regard to interconnection between planets and systems is this. The higher you go, the more responsibility you have. Probably not anything foreign for us who used to or still working in companies and corporates, right? It's like, at least in name, your bosses are responsible for your work. Same in the context of this interconnection between systems, Sirius, calibrated as a star civilization at the fifth and sixth dimension, is responsible and indeed encompasses all that is so-called beneath Sirius, which is the doings and the beings and the creation of Pleiades, of Earth and of humanity. All right? Because Sirius is part of us, and we are not part of Sirius actually yet because we have not actualized these attributes, they become visible to us as if it is a three-dimensional star. So Sirius, maybe some of us have encountered it visibly as like the brightest star in the sky. So if you ask yourself, the real nature of Sirius is six-dimensional or fifth. Why is it that we, in our physical eyes or through our physical eyes, could see the brightest star of Sirius? That's because, as above, so below, they need to encompass our nature. So they make themselves visible as a star. Likewise, so anyway, the layman term for Sirius is dog star, residing in the constellation of Canis Major. I have asked my Syrian guides, do you call yourself this? Canis Major. They say, we don't know. This is the name coined by you humans. Likewise, stepping the energy frequency a bit down at fourth dimensional level of the Pleiades, we see them as a cluster of seven sisters or seven stars in the constellation of Taurus. So what we see physically and visibly is their third dimensional aspect, as if to remind us that they are connected with us, because in them, in their system, they know and they carry our genes. Of course, we have Earth at the moment at third dimension level, and us, humanity. All right? So this is the interconnection vibrationally across systems, across life species.